Let me tell you a story. A story about how God is watching over us, protecting us from relationships that may be detrimental to our growth, our well-being, and our happiness. Listen closely because this story isn't just about me, it's about you too. There once was a young woman named Jasmine, full of life and laughter. Jasmine had a big heart and a contagious smile. She was always willing to lend a helping hand to anyone in need. However, despite her caring nature and her love for others, she had yet to find someone special to share her life with. One day, as she went for grocery shopping, she caught a glimpse of a charming young man named Daniel. Their eyes met, and it felt like an electric spark had passed between them. Jasmine and Daniel soon began talking, and it wasn't long before they were inseparable. But as time went on, Jasmine began to notice a change in Daniel. The man who had once been so kind and attentive was now distant and cold. Jasmine tried her best to help him, to reach out and understand what was happening. But it seemed like the harder she tried, the further away Daniel drifted. Then one day, she stumbled upon a group of people in a salon who were talking about Daniel. They spoke of his past relationships, of the pain and heartache he had left in his wake. Jasmine's heart sank as she realized that the man she had fallen for was not who she thought he was. She was devastated, but she also knew that she couldn't continue down this path. She prayed for guidance and strength, asking God to help her make the right decision. And in that moment of vulnerability and faith, she felt a sense of peace wash over her. It was as if God was speaking to her, telling her that she was not alone and that he would protect her from further pain. With a heavy heart, she ended her relationship with Daniel. It wasn't easy, but she knew it was the right thing to do. And as she walked away from him, she felt a sense of relief, knowing that she had been saved from a toxic relationship. Months later, Jasmine met a kind and gentle soul named Ethan. They connected on a deep level, and their love blossomed into something truly beautiful. She was grateful for the journey she had been through, as it had led her to the love she had always been searching for. This story serves as a reminder that God is always watching over us and guiding us away from relationships that would only bring pain and heartache. Jasmine's faith and trust in God allowed her to be protected from a bad relationship, ultimately leading her to the happiness she deserved. In life, we often find ourselves yearning for companionship, for that special someone who will make our hearts race and our souls soar. But what if I told you that God is working tirelessly behind the scenes to keep you from falling into the wrong hands? You see, God has a way of working things out for our highest good. And sometimes that means steering us away from a relationship that would only bring pain and heartache. It may be difficult to comprehend, but trust me when I say that God's got your back. Now, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine yourself walking down a street, feeling lost and alone. The sun is setting and darkness begins to creep in. You yearn for someone to share the burden of life with, someone to walk beside you on this journey. But suddenly you come across a roadblock. This roadblock is God's way of protecting you from going down the wrong path. It is His way of protecting you from entering into a relationship that would only cause you pain. At times, it might feel like you're being denied something you want so badly. You might question, why is God keeping me from happiness? But the truth is, God is not keeping you from happiness, but rather He is preserving your happiness for a better and more suitable partner. God is saving you from a relationship that could potentially damage your spirit and hinder your growth. I know it's hard to see the bigger picture when you're standing in the middle of the storm. You might feel like you've been dealt an unfair hand or like you're being punished for some reason. But trust in the divine plan of God. Trust that God knows what's best for you and is working tirelessly to ensure your heart is protected from harm. I want you to think about the times in your life when you've been saved from a dangerous situation or when you've narrowly escaped disaster. These moments too were God's way of protecting you. And just like those moments, God is protecting your heart from the wrong relationships. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever looked back on a past relationship and thought, thank goodness I dodged that bullet? It's not a coincidence that these relationships didn't work out. It was God's divine intervention, shielding you from the heartache and pain that could have followed. You might not have known it at the time, but your heart was being safeguarded by God's supernatural power. When we're in the midst of heartache, it's easy to become bitter and disillusioned. We may feel like we're destined to be alone or that we're unworthy of love, but I want you to know that this couldn't be further from the truth. God has a plan for you, a plan that includes love, happiness, and a fulfilling relationship. You just have to trust in the process and know that everything will work out as it's meant to. Take a moment to reflect on the relationships that didn't work out. Were there warning signs that you chose to ignore? Red flags that you brushed aside? Perhaps these were subtle cues from God, nudging you to steer clear of a potentially harmful relationship. So it's time to embrace the love and protection that God is offering you. It's time to trust in the divine plan and understand that everything happens for a reason. Though the journey may be difficult and the road may be filled with obstacles, know that you are not alone. God is walking beside you, guiding you through the darkness and leading you towards the light. Sometimes it can be challenging to have faith in something we cannot see or touch. But let me assure you, God's love is as real as the air we breathe. You may not see it, but it's there, enveloping you in its warmth and carrying you through the darkest nights. Now, I want you to do something for me. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Feel the love that surrounds you, the protection that guards your heart. This is God's love, a love that knows no bounds, a love that is always present, even when we feel lost and alone. It's essential to remember that God's timing is perfect and our human understanding is limited. We may not comprehend why certain relationships don't work out, but God sees the whole picture. Trust in this higher wisdom and know that you are being led towards a relationship that will nourish your soul and uplift your spirit. As you navigate the often tumultuous waters of love and relationships, remember that God is your anchor. When you feel like you're being tossed around by the waves, hold on to your faith and know that you're being guided towards your ultimate happiness. And when you finally find that special someone, that person who complements your soul and brings out the best in you, remember to give thanks for the journey that led you to. For it was through the trials and tribulations of past relationships that you learned the lessons necessary to cultivate a healthy, loving relationship. So when you find yourself questioning why you're still single or why you haven't met the right person yet, remember that God is protecting you from heartache, from pain, and from the wrong relationships. Trust in the process, have faith in the journey, and know that when the time is right, you'll be guided towards a love that is greater than anything you could ever imagine. In conclusion, it's important to remember that God's protection is not a punishment, but a gift. I feel I need to say that again. God's protection is not a punishment, but a gift. A gift that keeps us safe from harm and guides us towards the relationships that will bring us the most happiness, growth, and fulfillment. So trust in the divine plan, have faith in the journey, and know that God is always by your side, protecting you from the wrong relationships and leading you toward the love that you truly deserve. And now I leave you with this thought. Your heart is sacred, and it deserves to be cherished, respected, and loved. Do not settle for anything less than the love that you're worthy of, and trust that when the time is right, God will lead you to a relationship that is truly divine. Keep the faith, stay strong, and always remember that God is your protector, your guide, and your loving source of strength.